All right, let's get a new 30-minute game going. Today is day 89 of a daily upload of a chess game. E4, C6, the caro-kann, D4, D5. Opponent plays the advance. We'll get our light squared bishop out. And then knight F3. I'm not as familiar with this move. I do wish our bishop had come out to G4, pinning the knight to the queen, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and close up our center. And then we'll start putting some pressure on this D4 pawn. They play C3. Their knight will probably come out to D2. Their bishop out to E3 first. Let's figure out how to start to put pressure on their pieces. Let's see. So I think like that. C5 and then knight C6. Ideally, I would like to get castled first. That's going to be sort of challenging. I think maybe knight out like this. But knight out to h6 does run the danger of bishop takes on h6. Well, let's go for it. Or more accurately, let's see if they go for it. Sort of an unusual move, but I want to preserve the e7 square for our dark squared bishop, so we can get castled. I guess I don't mind bishop takes on b1, sort of forcing the rook to move. I mean, they're not going to long castle with their pawns out like this, most likely. And then bishop takes also reinforces their b2 pawn, which is often a weakness in the caro. Or often a weakness just in general. I like that ability. Well, let's see what happens. I guess our opponent is evaluating the relative merits of taking on h6. It ruins our pawn structure, but it will trade away their good bishop. Takes, and we have doubled pawns in the h file. Maybe we can push one up and then get our own bishop out to h6. That looks sort of interesting, and have our bishops staring down this very imposing diagonal. Then if our queen comes in, it could be good. Could be good. And with this pawn structure in front of our king, we may not need to get castled. But let's see what our opponent comes up with. Coming up for us, probably queen to b6, effectively locking their dark squared bishop into place. Actually, maybe that would have been the better move, is before knight to g6, queen to b6, or knight to h6, not g6. Queen to b6 first, locking in the dark squared bishop as a defender of this b2 pawn, and then playing knight to g6. I guess in response, they might have b4, and then we have a5, and I think that works out in our favor. Yeah, I think these pawns on the queen side can be challenging to push. I think there are clear plans in the caro for pushing the f, g, and h pawns on the king side. And if our opponent wants to, for example, bishop d3, bishop takes, queen takes, then we have knight to f5, which is a great spot for the knight to put pressure on the d4 pawn. So our opponent's going to sit and think about this move for a while. I'm just going to sip my coffee, and we'll see what we see. I am working to play more effectively this game. I don't want to make any spurious piece sacrifices. I don't want to make any automatic moves. I want to play sound, thoughtful chess. Unlike the last game where I threw away a bishop and my position sort of crumbled after that. Our opponent is also playing very thoughtful chess, having taken nearly 5 minutes on move number 6 of the game. I hope they haven't abandoned the game. Make for very dull content today. It's just 25 minutes of me waiting for my opponent to make a move. And me sort of spiraling as I stare into the camera. I don't want to be on my phone necessarily. I think it's a little bit unsporting to be on a phone during a chess match. And yeah, I feel like I want to stay locked into the game. But that's going to be challenging for 24 more minutes of just nothing happening. Perhaps our opponent has stepped away from their computer. Who is to say? So what are our plans after this? Let's say our opponent develops somewhat modestly, protecting their d4 pawn. Let's say they play bishop to e3. It's a great move. Our goal in this position is to put pressure on the d4 pawn. And the ways that we can do that include getting a knight onto f5, getting a knight onto c6. So that's 2 attackers, pushing c5, 3 attackers, and then queen b6, 4 attackers. And our opponent has 1, 2, 3. This would be 4. So I think a move that we might make is go ahead and make the move bishop to f4, which does a couple things. It pins the knight to the queen. If they want to play h3, we can take, removing a defender, or removing 2 defenders, which is kind of a neat trick. So if we take, queen comes out to f3 to recapture, and we've removed 2 defenders from this d4 pawn. Both the knight can no longer access it, and the queen is on the wrong square. Bonus points, this bishop cannot put any pressure on the d4 pawn because they're on opposite colored squares. So I think this would be a very strong move. This also opens up the square for the knight on f5. So once we develop our other pieces a little bit further, I think I would like to get castled, maybe bishop to e7 castles. But I think that will be a very strong move. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 moves that I would like to make in pretty short order. We got, I think, fairly clear plans here. But really, in order to push c5, I would like to get castled because these are both nasty checks. And we do have knight to c6 in response. But if both the queen and the bishop are over here staring down our king, it's just an unpleasant position to be in. I think getting castled first is much more appealing. All of these plans hinge on our opponent being able to make another move, which I think might be a challenge. And I'm sort of at a loss on how to provide exciting commentary, thrilling content when our opponent refuses to make an additional move. We got 21 minutes remaining in the game. If our opponent continues to just sort of wait out the clock, I might just step away from the computer for a moment, do some calisthenics. I have other chess games that I could load into chess.com. I think there is something cheat detection where if you're like constantly switching tabs on your chess game, which I believe the browser can detect, it could be read as cheating. So I don't want to like leave the game necessarily. Or like I don't want to do something else on my computer. I want to sit here for another 20 minutes. Gosh. Yeah, I'm just gonna step away from the computer for a few minutes. I will be back. Oh, fabulous. Our opponent waited 10 and a half minutes to play h3. A good move that's going to prevent either of these pieces from coming out to g4. We'll go ahead and play e7 and get castled, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, we don't have this option anymore. Our opponent maybe has, like, this to add another defender to the d4 pawn. So maybe we do want to just trade off this piece right now so we can place our knight on f5. Nope, okay. So they come out, takes. We'll get... Actually, I'm going to get the knight out onto f5 before castling. I like that the knight interrupts this diagonal. I think that's a nice sort of defensive... It's both a defensive and an offensive piece. So our opponent might wiggle their knight out like this. I guess not that they've traded away their light squared bishop. Well, no, I don't want to push c5 yet because it still comes with check. This check, knight comes out, and then queen takes on b7, leaving our knight hanging, and our king is exposed and dangerous, and I would like to avoid that. So I think our next move is probably castles. Our opponent can also castle. Seems decent. I wonder if there's anything with like getting out like this. I don't think so. That doesn't look super appealing. I think we want to break up this pawn structure. Our opponent only has 2 defenders on it right now. They can get a third, but we'll be able to get 1, 2, 3, 4 attackers on it, no problem. Once we get our king castled, we get a Tucker king away to safety first. Maybe, yeah. Our opponent's sitting down for another long think, apparently. I don't know what the plan is. Perhaps they're being called away to work on something. I don't know if I should prepare for another 10-minute sojourn. Yeah, I think I'm just going to step away again while our opponent has a nice long think on the position. All right, we get a move from our opponent. It's very interesting. Bishop to e5, defending the head of the pawn chain. I don't know exactly what the plan is here, but I think we can safely get castled and push c5. They do have a number of their pieces sort of staring down our side of the board, which I'm a little worried about. Knight could potentially come down. Well, no, the knight can't come anywhere because our dark squared bishop guards these squares, which is nice. So coming up next, c5, knight to c6. They get castled. All right. We will take, well, I guess first we need to play knight to c6. They still have 1, 2, 3 defenders on the piece. And we need to add more attackers. So queen to b6, knight to c6 coming up in short order. I guess they do have knight to d2, knight to b3. Oh, there we go. But if they play that, then we have this nice fork playing c4. Opening up this long diagonal for our bishop. Not that with their pawns on dark squares like this, that doesn't really accomplish anything. So I guess that's not appealing as I thought it was. But if they do want to play their knight out like this, we fork their pieces, and that looks really good. The pawn fork. Knight c6 coming up next. Rook to e1. I think this is a fine move. Well, honestly, rook to d1 might have been a good move too. This, in the caro, I think, stares down this e5 pawn, and I think makes it a little bit difficult to get the rook to escape unless they want to do like a rook lift. That can be sort of challenging, especially with h3 in the way. So let's get our queen out to b6. And if they want to add this defender, then we fork their pieces. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 attackers on this pawn, and they have 1, 2, 3 defenders. So we can safely take. We also have queen takes on b2, which is a nice move. We will take this pawn, I guess. Oh, interesting. Okay, so they're gonna lose the pawn. Okay, so we'll take. Takes. Let's see. I think we want to take probably with this knight. Because I still like this knight as a defender of this diagonal, which still feels a little bit fraught, so we'll take with this knight first. Well, I guess, no, yeah, with their bishop on this pawn, ordinarily this knight is a good defender of that pawn, or is a good attacker of that pawn, but with the bishop staring it down, we don't have that option as much. All right. And there we go. We are up a pawn. Our opponent's central pawn structure is ruined. And I think maybe we just drop back to f5. I think they're probably threatening... oh gosh, I don't know what they're threatening with rook to c1. We do have something like bishop out. Bishop could come all the way out to... Because basically if rook down like this, queen takes, yeah. So let's just drop our knight back to a nice f5 square. This is a good spot for the knight. They move their knight. Maybe threatening to come down. Yeah, come down to g5. So I think maybe queen back to d8 looks good now that we've won this pawn. Well, we'd also play rook to c8. Yeah, what do we want to do here? Bishop out hits this rook, potentially permitting them to double up rooks on the e file. They would need to move up like this. I guess good squares for the rook. No, either one of these two, I guess. But that's sort of a fragile position for our bishop. So I think, yeah, queen back to d8 seems the stronger move. And then rook to c8 coming up next. I think at this point we have the stronger pawn structure. We're up a pawn. We just need to play thoughtfully, and then we'll be in a good spot. We also have a substantial time advantage over our opponent because they spent 15 minutes thinking about 2 moves. So we can take our time and play well. Opponent has 11 minutes left on the clock, and we have 25. Well, I guess I don't like rook to c8 quite as much. Maybe we play like a6, b5, free up some more room on the queen side. Just sort of waiting moves, I guess, as our opponent tries to figure out how to crack our position. Okay. They play g4, potentially weakening their king side. I think we have knight to h4. If knight takes, then bishop takes. We could also drop back, but if bishop takes, then pawn has to take, and that's not nearly as good. Is there anywhere else we can go? Not really. These are covered by pieces. Let's take a look. Covered by pieces. Loses to the pawn. Unfavorable exchange. E3 loses the pawn. D4 loses the pawn, or loses the knight. D6. Yeah, so I think this is our move. We vacate the very appealing F4 square. Takes. And I'm interested to see what our opponent's plan is here. They want to trade off this piece as well. So I think this, and then we have this check on B6. I don't think that does anything for us, though, other than it connects our rooks. Just sort of a nice idea. If we take, they take back. And they have this sort of nice pawn structure in front of their king. I don't think we need to take this trade. I like having our dark squared bishop. But if we move out to g5, their dark squared bishop is sort of awkwardly placed. So I like the look of this. And they can't come out like this because they just lose the bishop. Oh, they play out their other pawn. Very interesting. So now we do have queen to b6 check. King can move pretty much anywhere. Not here. We're staring down that. King moves, and then I don't think we have anything to follow it up with. So maybe, yeah, I think bishop back, because, well, I guess we could play our bishop all the way back to e7. Back to g6, traps the bishop. Yeah, e7 seems pretty appealing. Let's do that. Maintain our good bishop. And sort of, their king is more exposed now, but this pawn structure is going to be hard to get into. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Maybe we throw in this check to get our queen out. I mean, we could do the check like this. No, the check like this just loses the piece. So let's throw in this check. That didn't work. And then this doesn't work. Okay. Maybe, yeah, queen up to a5. Pawn comes up. Seems fine. This is a little worrisome. But I think next move we can get our rook out to c8. That looks pretty good. Offering a trade of rooks. I am concerned a little bit about back rank ideas. Although with our bishop here, we do have bishop drops back to f8 if we do like a trade like this, and then they somehow get a rook down to c8, then we have bishop drops back to f8, protecting our king. Okay. Okay. Just play good defensive chess. We're staring down their a2 pawn, which I don't think I would want to take right off the bat, but as an option, I like rook to c8 a lot better here. Rook a to c8. Well, I guess play like that, and then we have this. I don't know about that. Our opponent has about 8 minutes left on the clock. We have a nice defensive structure in front of our king. These pawns are unsullied. A little bit worried about these. They do choose to push g6. I guess we could take with h7 or f7. F7 opens up the rook, which seems really nice, but it makes this e6 pawn a weakness. Not a glaring weakness, I would say. They don't have a light squared bishop to attack it from like here, and if they want to get their queen over, it's gonna take some work, and we'll have time to defend it. Yep. Okay. They play a4. Let's go ahead and offer a trade of rooks. They move away. All right. Let's see. What can we do here? I guess now we can get our... Oh, there we go. So we can force a trade of bishops, pinning their bishop to their king. Let's do that. And then we can get our rook up and double up on the c file, and that looks intimidating. We could also take back with our queen, checking their king, but because it has so many squares to move to, I don't think that's a very effective idea. All right, they push their other pawn. Let's get doubled up on the c file. And then start attacking their king, I think. Rook up, let's see. Rook up to c3, hitting their queen. We have queen over to c4. And it starts to look pretty fraught for our opponent. So let's actually, wait a minute. We do have rook to c1 pinning. Takes with check. King moves to one of these 3 squares. And then I don't think we have another check available actually, so that doesn't look as good. So let's do rook to c3, defended twice. Nice, solid option. We have queen over to c5, check. And then maybe rook to h3 if they want to move to h1. Their queen doesn't have a lot of squares to move to, which is kind of nice. We have a couple options here. We have check, take the queen. Oh, here we go. We can move down like this. Takes. No, that doesn't work out. I think maybe we check them first. Yeah. King is very exposed. Let's take advantage of that, if at all possible. We've got 20 minutes on the clock to figure out how to deliver checkmate to our opponent. I think we'll be in a good spot. We don't have another check available that doesn't lose a piece. We could push this pawn and then come over like this. That could work. This also adds another defender, or this pawn becomes sort of a backwards pawn, and their queen might be able to take it up if we move our queen too far away. We could take this pawn. Seems appealing. Yeah, let's just take this piece. Well, actually, what if we come up here? Takes. That's just an even trade of pieces. That doesn't do us any good. If we come over and if they do like that, and we have takes, that's advantageous. Okay, so I think this works out. All right. Yeah, so I think this works out for us. We have takes, queen takes, rook takes, and we're not in any danger of back rank shenanigans. So we're just up a rook at that point. Yeah, I think our opponent's time pressure maybe getting to them a little bit. Our opponent resigns. There we go. So set aside the... Here, let's look at the analysis real quick. Setting aside the 15 minutes our opponent spent on those two moves, they would have had 21 minutes left on the clock. I think maybe they were feeling the time pressure a little bit. Yeah. Let's take a look at the review. Mute this tab. E4, C6, D4, D5, the advance. Nothing too crazy here. C3 is a strong move. H6 is excellent. That's encouraging. You're saying an immediate C5 would have been a little bit stronger. I like holding off on C5 until we get our king castled. That always feels nice. C5. Rook E1 is decent. They're saying G4 would have been better here to threaten and perhaps trap our knight, which I think we saw something similar later. We take, they take back, we take... Oh, that's interesting. Knight to B4 was a little bit better here. Queen retreats all the way to B1, and then... I mean, I guess this isn't going anywhere, so we can like take whenever we want, and we're able to take command over the open C file. Very cool. Okay, so that's a nice idea. So that didn't happen. Takes. There were better moves. Okay, yeah, kicking the queen was a better move. Very interesting. I think just because this threat of G4 is so strong. Queen takes was a better move. Forcing a trade of queens. I mean, what if they drop back? This loses a queen. Oh, so their queen is like nearly trapped. That must be it. And does their queen drop back to like here? It just loses a piece. Okay. Cool. Rook A to C1. Resuming to the game. Yep. Dropping back our knight. We drop our queen all the way back. Threatening this rook would have been a good move. They finally find G4, which is a strong move. Takes. G3 was not strong, and I think G5 was decent. F4, E7. Okay, and just offering that trade of bishops was a stronger move. Queen to B6 check. Yeah, and then we get our rooks onto open files. Yeah, and then I think the game follows pretty quickly from there. We get our rooks doubled up on the open file. We threaten their queen. Come over with check. Pick up a pawn, and then rook to c1 is the big inaccuracy of the game. We take, they take back, and we take their queen. So 2 rooks against 1, we're up a couple of pawns. The game would have followed pretty quickly from there. Black has a substantial advantage. Cool. Thank you for your patience on this one. Have a good one, y'all.